all the things that Tucker is, a conspiracy theorist, a misogynist, Islamophobe, a troll, one of the most dangerous is that he is the most prominent vessel in America for white supremacist talking points.
Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist, according to John Oliver. The efforts to recall Governor Gavin Newsom in California are based on white supremacy, according to Gavin Newsom. And Asian hate crimes based on white supremacy are on the rise, according to the mainstream media. Since we're covering white supremacy, I thought, wait a second. Am I a white supremacist? Before we get started, there's some housekeeping that I want to do. About a month back, YouTube removed one of my videos that I uploaded on January 6th about the rally that led to the riots. They said that I violated their community guidelines and they gave me a strike. Yesterday, YouTube removed another one of my videos uploaded on the same day, saying that I violated the same guidelines, which are that I uploaded content that advances false claims that widespread fraud, errors, or glitches changed the outcome of the US 2020 presidential elections. I didn't mention the elections, I just covered the rally and then I covered the riots. Both videos got removed, one of them got me a strike, but yesterday I was able to win one of the appeals. I don't know how, because clearly they don't use logic. Now, what I'm trying to say here is, don't forget to like and subscribe, because YouTube is really giving it to me. On his weekly show, Left Darling John Oliver decided to dedicate the main story of the show to Tucker Carlson, specifically to fearmonger about Tucker Carlson's prominence, getting about 3 million views per night, goddamn, and Tucker Carlson being a right-wing white supremacist thought leader. Check it out.
You might even be thinking right now, why give him the attention that he's so clearly trolling for? But the fact is, we're not giving Tucker any attention he's not already getting a lot of. The night he made those flight suit remarks, he was the most watched show on cable. He averages over 3 million views a night and does well in the key 25 to 54 demo, meaning that young people are watching him, as well as the normal Fox audience of retirees and their sad imprisoned pets. He is so important to the network that they are expanding Tucker's presence, launching a new video podcast and long-form documentary series. And if that wasn't enough, Tucker's also been floated as a potential future presidential candidate, which should be seriously alarming because of all the things that Tucker is, a conspiracy theorist, a misogynist, Islamophobe, a troll, one of the most dangerous is that he is the most prominent vessel in America for white supremacist talking points. And I already know what Tucker will say about this because whenever this topic comes up, he has the exact same reaction. What does that even mean?
White nationalism. Let's be literal for a minute. What is that exactly?
I don't even know what white nationalist means, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole with you now.
Why doesn't anyone ever define white supremacy? What is white supremacy? Can somebody tell us in very clear language what a white supremacist is?
Okay, first, very clear language seems like a high bar to clear for a man who spends 85% of his time making the befuddled face of a 13th century farmer learning about Bitcoin.
Face of a 13th century farmer learning about Bitcoin? That was supposed to be a joke. This guy gets millions of views and millions of dollars. And that was the joke that he and his writer room gave the green light to. Okay. I think Tucker is right in asking what exactly is white supremacy. See, what the left does, they constantly move the goalposts and the definition. So when they accuse you of something, you need to know exactly what their definition is in order to be able to defend yourself. It's the same thing with the trans community. They say, hey, anyone can identify as a woman. But then you ask him, okay, fine. But what is a woman? And then their mind explodes. They have no answer. Anyone can identify as a woman, you bigot. Okay, but what's a woman? How dare you, you transphobe? Oliver then goes on to explain that Tucker is one of the heirs to the Swanson fortune. Therefore, since he's going to be a billionaire or might already be, he is a bad, bad person. Because billionaires, bad. And then Oliver shows a clip of Tucker's first appearance on TV. A quite good one, if you ask me. But according to Oliver, it just shows his white supremacy. Check it out.
This leap to TV, though, came as an accident. Supposedly, back in the 90s, Dan Rather's show called the magazine where Tucker was working, looking for somebody to talk about the OJ trial. And the receptionist there told him, everyone else is still at lunch. Can you do it? Which might be the single whitest origin story I have ever heard. Hey, you, you with the skin and face. We've got an extra career lying around. Are you interested? But despite his total lack of preparation, Tucker was almost immediately hitting on themes that he'd be echoing for the next 25 years. Because here is one of his very first TV appearances in the aftermath of the O.J. verdict.
Let me ask you, Mr. Carlson, do you think we're honest with each other race to race?
Oh, no, of course not. I mean, everybody is terrified of one thing. Whites are, of course, terrified of being called a racist. Blacks are terrified of being belittled. Of course, I think we need actually probably less conversation about race. I think it might do us good were we to ignore the subject a little bit and treat each other as if there were no color boundary separating us. I think that might be helpful. I think we talk about it in some ways too much.
So Tucker was arguing for us to be colorblind, and John Oliver thinks this is a bad idea? My question to you is this: which one seems like the most racial supremacist? The guy who wants to ignore race and treat everyone the same, or the guy who wants to make race a critical part of a person's character? Comment down below. I think Tucker's on the right side of things, not Oliver. But it's not just John Oliver. We also have Little Brian from CNN Fake News arguing and telling his viewers, warning his viewers about Tucker Carlson's popularity, which he's jealous of, and Tucker Carlson's evil white supremacist tongue. Check it out.
Tucker Carlson is the new Donald Trump. Tucker has taken Trump's place as a right-wing leader, as an outrage generator, as a fire starter. And it's all happening on Fox, just like Trump's campaign did.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, fake news. Trump won the first election because of the billions of dollars in free press that you gave him. You, Fox News, everybody had an equal part in it. Equity. How nice. But now, let's move on to the 2 million white supremacists who are trying to get California Governor Gavin Newsom recalled. In reality, there are not 2 million white supremacists in California or in this country, but, Democratic Party and Gavin Newsom will have you believe that that's who is behind the recall. Take a look at this clip paid for by the California Democratic Party, blaming white supremacists for everything.
Who's behind the partisan recall of Governor Gavin Newsom? Anti-vaccine QAnon extremists, violent white supremacists like the Proud Boys who attacked our nation's capital on January 6th, and the same right-wing Republican politicians who supported Donald Trump's attempt to overturn the election. Of course, paid for by the Republican National Committee. Instead of helping fight the pandemic, national Republicans are coming to fight Californians. Add your name to help stop the Republican recall. It's a power grab.
More dislikes than likes. That tells you a lot. I think Newsom is getting recalled not because of white supremacists, but because his population is still locked down, he doesn't abide by his own mask mandates or social distancing mandates, and because, he's a racist. Check this clip out with the great Joy Reid while he's saying that he's going to replace the white Jewish Dianne Feinstein with, a woman of color. Because merit doesn't matter. It's all about skin. It's all about identity. Check it out.
You could give me, if in fact Dianne Feinstein were to retire, will you nominate an African-American woman to restore the seat that Kamala Harris is no longer in the United States Senate? And do you have a name in mind?
I have multiple names in mind. We have multiple names in mind, and the answer is yes.
Okay, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Man, that guy really does not deserve to be in office. And now let's move on to our final topic of the day, white supremacy and Asian hate crimes. Nice. Since the sickness started, Trump got criticized for calling it the China virus. He was fueling racism, fueling white supremacy. In reality, viruses are usually called from the place where they come from or are discovered, like Lyme disease, the West Nile virus, the Spanish flu, Ebola. But China virus? That's racist. No. Racist. Now, whenever an Asian person gets assaulted and the perpetrator is white, we hear about white supremacy and hate crimes. But when the perpetrator is black, which statistics show that it's at least 2% more often than white, we don't hear about the racists. I wonder why. Could it be that the mainstream media is making up this white supremacist narrative and people attack people because people are shitty and Tucker was right all those years ago and we don't have to make everything about race? It's just better if we don't even acknowledge race. You're a person and you're either good or you're bad. And even that's not so black and white. Yesterday, a sick, deprived person shot up and killed 8 massage parlor workers. 6 of them happened to be Asian, so naturally, the mainstream media called it a white supremacist hate crime, even though the sick, depraved guy, admitted that race had nothing to do with it. He was not motivated by race. He was a confessed sex addict who frequented these massage parlors to get special massages, and one day he snapped and he shot it up. A sick crime, not a hate crime. And that's it for today, folks. It's getting really hot in the sweater with the lights, the fan is off, and we're in Florida. So don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. It helps. Thank you for watching. See you next time.